I'm sure by now we've all seen and heard about the fat shaming by Lizzo, the body positivity queen. The 300-pound body positive artist is currently being sued by 3 of her backup dancers for sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. With Lizzo being overweight, she's done a great job embracing her lifestyle. It's okay to be fat and out of shape and at risk of heart failure, and she's essentially become the poster child for body positivity. Going on to create production companies such as Big Girl, Big Touring, as well as being featured on the Vogue magazine on the cover promoting acceptance of body positivity. Let me paint the picture. Body positivity only exists for women. As you're a fat artist, let alone a fat regular person, gets praised for being overweight and unhealthy. It's like, you're overweight. Let's reward you with more cookies, Oreos and chips, and more pizza and a bottle of Coke. Not to pick on any artist, but we've never seen artists like Rod Wave or even Murray get praised for being out of shape and unhealthy. This whole body positivity is simply a heavy blanket over self-accountability and controlling what you consume as a person. Lizzo has been exposed as one of the biggest hypocrites ever because she fired one of her workers for becoming too overweight. Now think about this. Lizzo, the star performer, can be as big, as loud, obnoxious as she wants, and people embrace her as a poster child for body positivity. But when it's one of her own dancers doing it, it's a problem. Got it. Lizzo is not like Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, or Rihanna, as they are two relatively smaller and average-sized women. So their backward dancers are women of the same size, flexibility, and mobility. These artists tend to have dancers that are really talented, doing the most to perform a good show. Lizzo's dancers are women of her caliber, essentially, if you will, BBWs. So all of her dancers are just as agile as her, and I've seen Lizzo perform and she can sing pretty decent. However, her performances are not the least bit agile and entertaining as Beyonce or even Nicki. The lawsuit filed in the LA court accuses Lizzo, her production company, and the captain Charlene Quigley of proselytizing to other performers and deriding those who had premarital sex while entertaining sexual fantasies. This whole incident started earlier this year, after a trip to the Banana Inn, a strip club in Amsterdam. The 3 women who were victims of this public embarrassment were Ari Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez. Ari and Crystal met Lizzo after competing on Lizzo's Amazon Prime reality TV show, Watch Out for the Big Girls of 2021, and Noel was hired later that year after performing at one of her music videos. It's been reported that after Lizzo's show, there were after parties that were a routine thing but not mandatory. However, it was alleged that those who attended became more favored by Lizzo, and going forward, they had greater job security as she would keep using the women as backup dancers only because they wanted to do whatever she wanted, when she wanted, which sounds like extortion to me. After the club, Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching new performers and catching sex toys launched from the genitals of the performers, then encouraging the dancers to eat a banana protruding from the woman's private part. It sounds like Lizzo's running a sex ring more than a dance team. I'm just trying to think, when did contract workers, because that's what these dancers are, reach a position of exploitation that they're indulging in certain actions that are sexual to keep their job? The lawsuit also read that Lizzo then turned her attention towards Miss Davis and began pressuring Miss Davis to touch the breasts of one of the new women. According to Ari Davis, she declined the advance suggested by Lizzo. Then Lizzo had a chant goading her to do so. So after Davis declined 3 times, the chant grew even louder and louder, demanding a visible, uncomfortable Ari engaging in sexual, ungodly acts. Now this was all on stage in front of people, so Lizzo then took it a step further and pressed her security to scream at Davis and tell her to take it off, pertaining towards taking the bra off the woman on stage. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. The surviving Lizzo stories don't seem to be getting any better. Just a week later, Lizzo brought her dancers to Paris club so that they could learn something new and be inspired. However, what Lizzo failed to mention was it was a nude cabaret bar. The dancers had no heads up or sort of robbed them of the choice not to participate. Now, given these dancers are contract and seasonal workers, they put up with a lot of BS just to keep their job, which goes to prove that in life, your sole purpose and goal should be ownership. Now, these dancers were simply at the mercy of Lizzo and had no choice but to do what they were told. The second victim of this fat shaming nightmare was Noel, as in the lawsuit she claimed that she experienced racial harassment and fat phobia. At one instance, since this is seasonal work, she asked to receive 50% financial compensation due to it being a downtime during Lizzo's tour, which is actually super reasonable considering that as dancers, they're supposed to drop everything and do what they want to go on tour with this big artist. She asked for a 50% compensation, to which she was lowballed with 25%, and she was scolded for being disrespectful and unacceptable, to which she alluded that only women of color were spoken to in such a distasteful manner. Now it was reported that the dance captain quickly preached her Christian beliefs and took every opportunity to proselytize the dancers. Religion has always been something that is sacred. Whether you praise God and you're Christian or you're Muslim and you praise Allah, religious beliefs should never mix with you in your work and cause you to be discriminated against in the workplace. However, Quigley felt different and said that no job and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord. The two dancers, Ari Davis and Noah Rodriguez, were fired in April and in May. Crystal Williams, the third and final plaintiff, who spoke up to Lizzo, lost her job in April of this year. Now she raised concern of dancers getting drunk pre-show, and apparently the day before, Lizzo made the entire dance team audition again for their own spots on the dance team, in which she was given a see-through outfit to her dancers that had no undergarments, so they had no underwear. People could see their titties because they had no bra on, and basically, this kind of made her dancers feel uncomfortable, and a week later, she fired Crystal Williams as a result of budget cuts, but no one else was fired, which seems very interesting. On April 27, Noah Rodriguez raised the issue to Lizzo of why did she fire Crystal? Coincidentally enough, on the same day, Ari Davis recorded a meeting that they had because she suffered from a sore eye condition and wanted to see what the dance routine looked like. However, days later, Lizzo had an emergency meeting and had security employees confiscate the dancers' phones to figure out who recorded the dance routine. I don't know if Lizzo thought that she was going to sell the dance routine to another team, give it to another big artist, or what the major concern was, but Lizzo made it something way bigger than it was supposed to be. Dance routines get filmed all the time, so I'm not sure why someone who was a part of the team who couldn't be there because they were sick was getting violated because they recorded the dance routine. It's like, I'm part of the team. What is the issue? If we played devil's advocate, maybe we could say that she thought she was going to give it to another artist or sell it to another team, which wouldn't do anything. The reason for this constant bullying by Lizzo is very unclear. However, what is clear is that Lizzo is manipulating and borderline extorting any of her dancers who questions her actions. Usually when a major lawsuit happens, it's all about money, the big cash grab, and it's basically a stick-up. However, in this situation, this lawsuit isn't really a stick-up for a major cash grab. It's more about paying and compensating the emotionally distressed workers who couldn't dance because for some parts they were basically cut, in other parts there was simply no work and Lizzo wasn't touring. Now the loss of earnings, of course, unpaid wages, is the major drive for them having to sue. These last few days have been gut-wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness have been questioned. Usually, I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are unbelievable as they sound and are too outrageous to not be addressed. The lawyer Ron Zambrano, representing the three former dancers, has some very strong words for Lizzo. Her denial of this reprehensible behavior only adds to our client's emotional distress. Lizzo has failed her own brand and has let down her fans. The dismissive comments and utter lack of empathy are quite telling about her character and only serve to minimize the trauma she has caused the plaintiffs and other employees who have now come forward sharing their own negative experience. To which Lizzo responded, "I'm here not to be looked at as a victim, but I also know what I'm not, the villain that people in the media have portrayed me to be the last few days. This is why I say body positively only works or is built to cater towards women. But who am I kidding? Women be their own biggest enemy. They always talk about men being rude on the internet, giving them looks, saying stuff to body shame them. But women are the most cruel towards women. It's like, you ever see a woman comment something shady about someone on the internet and then go like their post, but say something to you about them in person? It's like, they're the most shisty, two-faced individuals on the net, but the men who is pretty straightforward, like, hey, I don't like big women, she's unattractive towards me, she needs to lose weight, is viewed as the victim, but they're just keeping it 100. While the woman on the other hand were, go girl, you look good, man, body positivity, who cares what they say, you're beautiful. Like, this just needs to stop, man, because we all know if the roles were reversed, we know the double standards, men would not be praised for being fat, out of shape, and their life out of order. On the grounds of a lawsuit, everything in this situation is hearsay. I personally don't think it's enough to reach a lucrative settlement. Most of the trauma or abuse they've experienced was verbal, which can simply be disputed in court as is basically he say versus she say. If someone else on the dance team admits to Lizzo forcing the girls to attend a nude cabaret bar, put bananas in other girls with JJ, as well as being forced to perform in like strip naked and some of the other stuff that they're involved in, then maybe it's a higher grounds of, okay, you can get some form of settlement and basically, talk about how you have an unsafe workplace or your employers are taking advantage of you and basically putting you in a position where you can't say no because you're going to be at risk of losing your job. The three dancers recently sat down with Good Morning America and addressed a lawsuit against the pop star Lizzo. You can see a public figure and all you know is what they present to you when the cameras are on and the cameras are rolling. I know it's alarming to hear that Lizzo, a plus-size woman who preaches body positivity, would be fatphobic essentially, but I wanted to challenge people to understand that hurt people, which is something that is so true. When you think about Lizzo, yes, she's a poster child for body positivity, but she still gets slandered, flamed, called ugly, degraded. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Lizzo does get a lot of flack, even though there's a lot of people who embrace who she is, which is mostly women. She does get a lot of people saying, hey, I can't live like that. I don't know why people are pushing this agenda. It's unhealthy. You're gonna die. You're not gonna reach 50. Like, people basically saying that it's unhealthy, which is very true. For someone like Lizzo, who's supposed to be like this macho, or not this macho, this like princess in the body positivity world, that yeah, she's gonna be our face for the plus size woman who, you know, get made fun of on the airplanes who take up 2 seats, or they're on the bus and people always look at them and, you know, smirk, bite their lip and start laughing. Lizzo was the poster child for those type of people. However, what she's doing to her workers, what she's doing to her dancers is unacceptable. When it came to addressing the racial and sexual harassment, Lizzo said, I'm very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out to be something I'm not. Lizzo is a prime example right now of when the hero lives long enough to become the villain. With Lizzo being labeled a hypocrite, is this the end of the fake body positivity wave? Because I'm not gonna lie, artists go through a lot, which I understand. But with Lizzo berating her artists who are just as heavy and like-minded as her, what does the future hold for Lizzo? We have just reached the final stop of the surviving Lizzo, a fat shaming nightmare. Take care, y'all. Jared Star, I'm gone.